time.
I'm gonna fight your fucking ass.
You're playing touch butt with that dork in the park.
There's a little snake in the grass.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
No fucking Jesus, people. I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I'm back.
Who the fuck is that guy? Break out the red panties. We're rich, baby.
I would like to introduce.
Welcome to the MMAforMoney Show, episode 72. Now, a few housekeeping notes before we go into everything. Quick reminder on the schedule, because yes, it is different. I am very much aware that this Saturday is UFC on ABC 1 or UFC Fight Island 7 with Cater versus Holloway. We're not breaking that down. We broke that down last week to try to give space, to give room to breathe here. So if you want more of a breakdown of those other than DraftKings, we're going to hit that. Hit up last week's show. We will obviously reshare that and get that one going. But on January 12th, that is today, we are going to repeat some few fight changes, review some bets, then really go big into DraftKings for that because obviously we didn't touch that last time. And then the huge Chiesa Magny full card preview betting breakdown. Then on January 19th, even though it's going to be the day before that fight card, we're going to spend predominantly that amount of time on UFC 257 with a little bit of reviewing and obviously DraftKings for both. So yes, next week, Mikey Gills will be busy. But in this show specifically, we have an early preview of UFC Fight Island 8 Chiesa versus Magny predominantly. I am Bob Boss, your favorite garbage man at MMA State of Mind, here with real Mike Copenhaver at Don't Cope Just Win, and Mikey Gilman at Mikey Gills. That's Gills with a Z. Also follow the show on Twitter at MMAforMoney Show. Real Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, man. Stoked to be here, talk about some UFC fights with you. Can't wait to finally get some combat in our lives, because literally the last 4 weeks have been absolutely dull as can be. I don't know how people watch these other stick and ball sports, like Bob likes to say. It's funny. I actually love all those other sports, but no. But Bob, like Bob says, stick and ball sports aren't for him, and I mean they might not be for me after this long little wait.
Mike Gills, how are you doing? I know you're a fan of the stick and ball sport, so I don't mean to completely disparage your favorite pastime, but
oh no, it's all good. In fact, I'm actually wearing black and yellow shirt right now. That's in honor of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are at home watching the rest of the playoffs. Go Ravens!
Yeah, I just thought it was for Van Damme and for the Penguins.
Van Damme and what was that? Don't tell me. Not double time, overtime, face off.
I don't think it was Face Off. I don't know. That's actually one that I'm forgetting. I just remember seeing the movie.
Face Off was a great movie, dude.
Him dressed like a
yeah.
That's fine. It didn't take too long to get to the 90s reference. Fine, whether it be Van Damme or Face Off. That's fantastic. Hey, and big belated happy birthday to Nicolas Cage. It was his birthday this last week. Yes, this obviously makes no sense. Big thanks to people already in the chat. Obviously, we have a lot. Yes, we are already devolving, but big thanks to when this link was originally posted, Mr. Ryan Richardson for throwing us a high five there, and then one right there for Mr. Primetime himself for his Got Talent Award. Very much appreciate that. Well, the MMAforMoney Show is here live on Haps. We have the links there on Twitter, or if you're here already in our chat, 12 already live in the chat. Thank you. You already got 54 people watching, 2 awards. Let's get this up. Let's break some records, our own personal records. What is Haps? It's a new platform that makes it super easy to simultaneously broadcast to all the social media channels. If you notice this on our Twitter or Twitch or pretty much anywhere where you've before been able to find us, you can find us on there and Haps all through this. If you download and subscribe to Haps, you will get 100 free coins for joining, which you can use to support our work by giving these awesome awards or other stuff like that, which can help straight fund this thing. If you've been here before, I mean, basically Brian Richardson, he's basically our sugar daddy. Like, there's no getting around it. It's okay. I'm comfortable with it at this point. You can find the show on Haps if you're watching live now on that, on Twitch, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Cast, RSS feed. We're also on YouTube, both the full-length shows and little tidbits, whether it be DraftKings breakdowns, free bets, all of that stuff is there after the fact. If you just want a little more condensed version of us, if this is a little bit too much for you, then just consolidate it down. You can hit it back and forth. Thank you, Jackie Girl, for the Super Hard Award. I very much appreciate that. Already got 73 people in the live. Wow, thank you guys. It's already starting to get big here. Let's see if we could break last week. subscribe. You'll never miss a show, whether it be YouTube or you can subscribe to us here on Haps, us individually or the show as a whole. We will start to maybe try doing a little bit more one-on-one stuff, but for sure, this big main thing, this is the big hub. Thank you. Now, I'm just going to quickly go through Holloway versus Cater. And I don't mean I'm going to quick break that down. We did that last week. Go check our show last week. If you want in-depth breakdown, go last week. Okay, but I'm just going to give an update on a few changes. I'm going to remind you of our 2 bets for that fight card and how we beat a line on one of them for sure. And then Mikey Gills is just going to go ham on some DraftKings because we didn't have salaries last week. We got salaries this week. So this is going to be his time to shine. But just as a quick update, Omari Akhmedov versus Tom Breeze has been pushed. Apparently there was a COVID not even going to try to say that. For some reason, it's not hitting. Either way, it's getting pushed 4 days to the next event that we're covering tonight.
It's a Tom Breeze fight. It got moved, or he got anxiety, or COVID. You know, who knows?
Yeah, but now it's going to be on the fight card that we're covering tonight. But we're not going to cover it because we covered it last week. So if you want to go through that, you may, or you'll get another little hint of it next week when Mikey Gills does DraftKings. I know this is a little confusing, but we're going to go with it. The next up, the Yanan Wu fight changed because when we broke it down, we were originally talking about Betch Correa and then actually how it originally fell out. We just thought the fight was going to get rebooked, but now she's facing Jocelyn Edwards, and that odds for that is Yanan Wu minus 145 versus Jocelyn Edwards plus 125. No, we're not going to break that down. That's just an update for you guys. Beyond that point, it really doesn't matter. And obviously Ricky Simon got rebooked, not against Brian Kelleher, but against a newcomer that we're going to break down for the Fight Island 8 card. But the review on the bets is we have one bet on Imavov plus 140. So that's 1 unit to win you 1.4. This is for UFC Fight Island 7 or ABC 1, whichever way Twitter decides to do it after the fact. Then we have 1.6 units on Todorovic minus 160. So that's 1 unit to win 1 unit. Mikey Gills, I want a hot and fast.
Okay.
Amazing DraftKings breakdown. But that doesn't mean like, hey, give me 2 minutes. I mean, okay. I want a little effort, but
can you stop telling me to give you hot and fast things the last 2 minutes? I'm just a little freaked out right now
because I want your 2 minutes of fury right now. Go.
Okay. Well, first off, it's funny you're calling it the 2 minutes of fury. Some people might call that sudden death, which is the name of the Van Damme hockey movie. Just throwing that one out there to start off with.
That's what we call Stitchback.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, right off the bat for this card, this card is throwing me for a loop. I went to go put together the things. The slate is completely different than it should have been just a couple of days ago. All of the fighters from the mid-range card that we were just talking about, they've been moved either from COVID or anxiety like we were talking about. So there are several fighters that are already gone. So the entire mid-range of the slate is unavailable. With that in mind, we're going to start off 6,900. We had to change this up. Going to put in Li Jinglang. This is a high-risk Hail Mary play going against Ponzinibbio. Don't get me wrong. If all things were equal and all that, I would put Ponzinibbio in there. No doubt whatsoever. I think he is the better fighter, but we are dealing with a very long layoff on here. And when you go to the bottom end on DraftKings lineups, you have to look at what those fighters are capable of. And even though I missed the joke last week, the Leech does not suck. And if he does win this fight, there is a chance that he's going to score a lot of points. I'm still wavering on this one. I might throw Tafa in the bottom. I might throw Mello. I don't know. We're going to get back to that. But right now it's Lee. Next up, Matt Brown, 7,500. This fight is either going to be just an ass whooping or a war. Either way, I see Matt Brown coming away with a lot of points. $7,500 for a price tag on a guy like Matt Brown is something that I like. He's going to go out there. He's going to fight for you. And in this fight, I think he does have a way to an easier victory with wrestling. Somebody posted some Court McGee wrestling stats earlier. I linked Real Mike to it. He might still be mad at me. Anyway, next up, Dusko Tavorovich, 8,500. His striking game at range is just better than Soriano. He's also an animal when he gets in close. And outside of a wild shot clipping him, I just don't see him losing this fight. And for 8,500, I love him at that price. I thought it was going to be higher than that. I thought he's going to be one of like the $8,800, $8,900 guys. So Dusko Todorovic is in our lineup. Next up, you know I had to do this to you guys. You're going to pick Phil Halls on a bet. I got to bet Phil Halls right back at you. So at 8,800, it's a little higher than I wanted to pay for Phil Halls. Not going to lie. I was hoping he was going to be in like the 82, 83, but whatever. This guy, if he goes through the first round, I'm sorry, if Imavov can get through the first round, I might turn my phone off. I'm going to shy away from this one a little bit. But
we'll text you.
Oh, yeah. You smoke signals, do whatever you got to do. But Phil Hawes, with his style of 5 first-round finishes in a row, he is on a roll right now. If he can keep that going, Boom, let's go. Next up, Max Holloway, $8,900. You got 5 rounds on this one. You got a high volume, proven scorer on DraftKings going up against a guy that I just think he's in a position that he can style on him. So Max Holloway, I'm rolling with you. I love you. Let's go. Next up, last guy, Austin Lingo. And this one's pretty simple. He's $9,000. If I am ever on the show and I throw out this is the disrespect pick, I got to put him in my DraftKings lineup. I disrespected Kilburn, something awful. I called him a regional level talent, said he didn't really deserve to be here. So, high probability that he's going to fuck me on this. But I'm rolling with Lingo. Let's go. That's our lineup. Recover it one more time. Li Jingliang. God, I can't pronounce that at all. Matt Brown, Dusko Todorovic, Phil Hawes, Max Holloway, and Austin Lingo. Let's go.
And real fast, just to address someone's YouTube comment, not just right now, but recently about us on the Max Holloway last podcast last week. They said we were a little too high on Max and that we didn't really touch on Cater. But it's like, bro, I mean, I touched on it, dude. I said he's a blue belt, and Max is purple to brown or better and handled black belts. So, I mean, why would I give him credit in the jiu-jitsu realm? And then I'm going to go to a stand-up, and I'm going to talk about what? Cater's going to out-volume Maxi, baby? I mean, come on, bro. I'm not going to jump off the 808 train. I'm Team Hawaii. I've said that all day. The MMA for Money show backs our boys on the island, especially Max, baby. So, Blessed Express, let's go.
Yeah. I have prefaced it many, many times that I am a Holloway mark. It's part of the reason that, like, he's my stereotypical could build a fighter. It's him. So very much that's why we're not betting it. Also, it's a main event. Very much why we're not betting it. I gave Cater his boxing credit. He's absolutely a phenomenal boxer. But if you're telling me that someone's just going to strike with Max for 5 rounds, I'm going to go that way. So disrespectful as it may be, I'm going to pick the 29-year-old over the 32-year-old. And yes, that's Max Holloway, the 29-year-old, versus the 32-year-old Kelvin Cater, who has not beaten anybody in the top 10. And I'm sorry, Ige should have been on a losing streak because he lost to Barbosa. I said it. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, Mr. Prime himself, for that award. And yes, Ryan Richardson, you are here from Kansas City. So it's like you got to give credit to Sugar Daddy because once he hops in, you gotta give him a little credit. So we are going to hop into UFC Fight Island 8. This is the fight card that is next Wednesday because obviously if we would be doing the show live on Tuesdays, as we do, that is not giving you guys enough time to actually listen to the show unless you watch live. And thank you to the 118 people there right now. But obviously the majority of people watch after the fact. So we're just trying to give you some time more than anything. And obviously normally Fight Island stuff doesn't change. It's been changing this time around because apparently it's been harder to get over there. But once we're over there, stuff should be fine. At least that's how it has been in the past. But we're going to jump right in. This is going to be a super quick breakdown, at least on my end, because this got moved from UFC 257, at least within the last 24 hours. So even when I was making the notes, it wasn't even originally on here. But yes, Umar Nurmagomedov, yes, another Nurmagomedov, minus 525 for Sergey Morozov, plus 415. I have literally nothing on this fight because, like I said, it got moved. I wasn't planning on going into this one till later, but Nurmagomedov should win. But I do think his name value is making this super, super, super steep. Super steep. Sorry about that. Mikey Gills, I'm going to go to you first for this one for no other reason than for what the next fight is, and that'll all make sense later. But what's your thoughts on Umar versus Sergey?
You guys are in the text thread that I am with you, and you heard me tell you about 15, 20 minutes ago that I just found out this fight was added. So yeah. I don't have a whole lot on this right now.
Similar boat.
Can we go back to talking about Van Damme movies and kill some time?
Well, which one? Which one are you going to talk about?
I mean, Kickboxer would be the obvious one. I think Tong Po, he broke a couple of rules. Look, we can talk about the rematch and where it's going to get sanctioned, but I don't know. Anyway, Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, like I said, this one got thrown to us pretty fast, and there isn't a lot of info on them both. But I mean, with the last snake Nurmagomedov, you better expect some heavy wrestling, ground and pound, and sambo. So I'm hoping that's what we're going to see here. But I think the price tag is definitely not warranted. Because, when we don't know so much, it could be one of those people that people are throwing in parlays just for the hell of it, thinking it's going to be a win and something fishy could happen. But I mean, like I said, I really don't know. I'm not betting it, and don't have anything special to say.
Honestly, at this point, they're just trying to give Umar Nurmagomedov a fight. He hasn't fought since November. Let me look that up. November of 2019. He's had 3 canceled bouts between then and now. So at some point, they're just trying to get him a fight. And yes, obviously, we probably butchered this last time around, but I think we landed on this is Khabib's cousin. I'm going to stick with that one for now because his brother's in a different organization. We'll go with that. But still not much on that, mainly because of his opponent. Trying to get him a win. But yes, that name is going to overvalue him for the foreseeable future, either until he gets humbled or shows up in a major way. Again, thank you for all the people hopping and giving awards. I mean, pretty much the same 2 people here, but you know what? We'll take what we can get. Oh, sorry. I forgot about the trick last week of how we get more viewers because we are climbing. We already gained another 20, but apparently last week, every single time we said Ponzinibbio's name, it jumped by like 50. So Ponzinibbio.
I already did that during the DraftKings thing. So.
I know. That's why I went up a little bit. So the Ponzinibbio. Apparently Argentina comes in hot. They come in real hot. Argentina does.
Well, they all tuned out when they found out I was picking his opponent.
Yeah, not so much on that one.
No, I don't really buy it. I gave all the reasons for it, and it's in flux right now. But
okay. Next up, we have Victoria Leonardo. You may recognize her, the girl that dresses up like she's a member of Dragon Ball Z. She's plus 150 versus Manon Ferrat. Again, I guarantee you I'm saying that wrong. I need to hear you on the broadcast first. She's minus 170. She's a debutante there in the UFC. Real Mike, I'm going to go to you first for obvious reasons that will become obvious very shortly, but give me your breakdown on this fight.
Yeah, this is one of those little bit lower MMA level at women's MMA bouts. But Victoria Leonardo, she's actually really, really slick on the ground. I believe she's now a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and her wrestling is actually really, really strong. She has her when she gets someone up in the clinch, she gets a good wrapper on the legs on the single or a double, or even just all the way underneath the butt and lifts them really well. So her takedowns are really good. Her jiu-jitsu and transition ability is up there for some of the best of the girls, especially at this caliber. Manon Ferrat, everyone's on her, and they're on her because she's a striker and she's a point striker at that. She reminds me a lot of a weaker Holly Holm and a weaker Caitlin Chukagian with all the loud noises with each strike that she throws. For being a striker, she leaves herself really wide open for a left high kick and for strikes in general. I don't see, for someone being a newcomer in the UFC, having such a high negative 170 price tag is just really not warranted. I really think that Victoria Leonardo is going to be able to clinch up against the fence and get Manon down on the ground and be able to show her the upper realm of jiu-jitsu and get a win here. So because of the price tag in the jiu-jitsu realm, and I think women's MMA always hits the floor, I'm going to be putting 1 unit on Victoria Leonardo at 1.5 or 1 unit to win 1.5 units. And I really think she's going to just dominate this on a decision, possible submission.
All right, so right off the bat, I agree with you about the Leonardo ground stuff and all that. That is definitely her best path in the fight. Where I'm gonna diverge from that is with Ferrat, 5-1 overall, 5 knockouts. This is a girl. She does have some power on the feet. When she hurts you, she's a swarmer. She's very aggressive when she realizes that there's blood in the water. She goes right after you. It's not just her striking, though. I understand in this fight, obviously in the ground, it's not really where she's going to want to be. But when she needs it, it's in her back pocket. She does have a couple fights where she's taking girls down, and she can pound you out on the ground as well from top position. So Leonardo, just if she's on her game, yeah, she could take her down and work from there. But if not, if she ends up on her back, she could be in a little bit of trouble. Standing up, I just think Ferrat just more aggressive, hits harder, a little smoother, a little faster. So, I mean, I was going to go ahead and pick Ferrat in this one. I can't pronounce her last name. I've said it 3 different times on this podcast already, but she was going to be my pick for this fight, just basically for all that. But I do understand all the problems that Leonardo is going to pose on the ground.
I'm going with Manon. I'm just going to call her that. I don't know if that's actually how you pronounce her first name either, but I'm going to go with Manon. Sorry, Real Mike, you were going to say something.
Yeah, with like I said, with Manon, it's if you watch her the matches where you're talking about where she's taking other girls down and getting top control. Yeah, she is in jiu-jitsu. It is position before submission. and she does the opposite every single time. She gets high on the back. She could be shaken off because she goes for strikes instead of going for the seatbelt and keeping the person into position. So because of those things on the ground, those are things that show low-level jiu-jitsu, like low level. And so there's no way in hell I'm taking any girl in her debut at -170 who does not lock in position before submission. Even if she got the back, she'd be shaken off, and then my girl will be on top and it'll handle it. So I really like this situation here in Victoria Leonardo, and I think she's going to dominate this girl.
My girl will be on top, and then she'll handle it. Sorry. Honestly, like I'm gonna go with I'm with Real Mike here. I like the physicality of Leonardo. Obviously, her defense is a little bit wanting, and she will get tagged. But this level of female MMA, pretty much anything outside of like the top 3 to 4, and even then, it kind of has to be a huge disparity. Sorry about that. In skill, I don't think she's gonna get put out. I think she can take the damage. I think she will close the distance because she also likes to throw haze to close said distance. And I do think that she could out muscle. She's the shorter, just stronger, thicker version of the two, and I do think she could pin her up against the cage. I do think she's gonna get to the ground at some point, ideally, hopefully in the first round, while they're both dry, because then she could get something like a finish, or I don't know. In one of these fights, the longer it goes, the sketchier it's going to be from either side, because it could be a split decision in either direction. But in that situation, me and Real Mike have a long-standing thing about low-level heavyweights. Pretty much anyone outside of the top 10. Anyone outside the top 10, you lean the underdog, because you're going to end up ahead long-term. Female MMA, same difference outside of the top 10. Sometimes even like the top 5 or 6. It's the same deal. If you can get value on one side in a relatively close matchup, it's worth it. And that's what's going on here. So no, obviously not too bare bones on my portion of that breakdown, because both of you pretty much said it all. I just want to give a little snippet on that one. But next up, we have a fight that we've broken down like 2 or 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I don't even know at this point how many times we've broken this in time. Quick pause. Thank you. More awards going our way. Now we got 58 live people in the chat talking, and 170 following. See, Ponzinibbio, man. It's like a wizard word.
That's why. That's the only reason I put him in the lineup.
It's like you guys keep saying Ponzinibbio. If you guys are wondering why I say Ponzinibbio every like 6 to 7 minutes, it's because it's magic.
Hey, we love Argentina over here. Like I said, Argentinian barbecue for life.
Do it like rolls off. Ponzinibbio, Santiago Ponzinibbio. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Sorry, before my horrible accent ruins everybody. But we have Tyson Nam -130 versus Matt Schnell +110. Yes, we've gone through this a bunch of times, but you know what? We're hitting it again. We're hitting this one again. Mikey Gills, tell me about Tyson Nam versus Matt Schnell.
All right, start off with Tyson Nam, 2011-1, 12 knockouts, 1 sub, going up against Matt Schnell, 14-5, 2 knockouts, 9 submissions. Now, like, again, we've broken this down 3 times. I'm not sure exactly like what I need to keep saying and what I can, but the highlights of it. Tyson Nam, you look at his record, 20-11, not that impressive, but the key thing you have to remember about him, a lot of earlier career losses. He had a big stretch where he was losing a lot of fights. Since 2014, he's 8-3. Not a lot of reach on him, but he has a lot of power. He's going to have to get in close, which could be a problem against Matt Schnell, who wants him to get close. We can help take him down. But one other thing that we talked about, where when we were breaking this fight down a few months ago, I remember listing it as a positive for Schnell, whatever, that he had taken a lot of time off after a knockout. And we said that was a good thing. And that was a good thing like 4 or 5 months ago, whenever the first time we broke it down. Now it's just been way too long. Like in the span of that time, Tyson Nam's fought since Schnell's last fight, Tyson Nam's fought 3 times. So that in sports, I do believe, even the stupid stick and ball ones, there is rhythm. Momentum is a real thing. So Tyson Nam, you get him in there, even in the small off, I do think his power can save him in this fight. I think Matt Schnell is going to have to try to get in close to him. He's not as good of a striker. He's going to leave himself open defensively. And at some point in this fight, I do see Tyson Nam clipping him. I am reversing from my original pick back in like, I don't know, September. So I don't learn my lesson about switching picks when fights get moved. But Tyson Nam, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think the Tyson Nam is just a little bit more experienced. He's fought in some really, really good guys in the UFC. So it's not like his path has been easy at all. So the experience factor to me, I think he's got the edge. Matt Schnell striking to me isn't that great, and that leaves him vulnerable to obviously not only to be hit, but to be knocked on the ground, and then his jiu-jitsu would be not as effective. So I really like Tyson Nam here. I think Tyson Nam is going to roll.
Yeah, I actually tried to listen to one of my old breakdowns, and like, it's all still the same. I'm sorry, like, and that this is gonna sound odd. It's all still the same. I think Matt Schnell is far and away the better fighter. He's on the come up. He is like, he's been on a reality show. He was caged. It's fine. Sorry, weird MTV reference from Louisiana. Either way, he's the more skilled. But his chin is very much wanting at this weight class, and you got to give it to Nam. As aged as he's getting, as slower as he's getting, the dude can still pop, and I would be so terrified, absolutely terrified, to lay money on Schnell. And like, obviously, I think the odds on this one has gone away too. I quick look it up on Best Fight Odds. They usually have a good barrier of the previous time these were made up, but like, obviously he's the underdog here. So you're like, oh, well, then I don't have to worry about it. It's like, yeah, but you're going to feel really bad when the dude gets straight melted. And I know that's a little bit rough there, but I'm starting to see if they have, they don't have the old one. That's fine. I was looking for the old odds just to see what it opened at previously, but I cannot trust Schnell, but I can't trust Nam either, because he could be losing the entire fight before he wins it. So I guess my pick would be Schnell, just because I see more upside in the guy. But in terms of betting this, no way, like, whatsoever. And I mean, unless he is an amazing price on DraftKings for next week for Mikey Gills, I mean, I could see doing Nam, because if he wins, he's getting big points.
Well, the problem with Nam is he's a low output guy. So if he doesn't get that knockout, I mean, even with a win, you're talking about a guy that could score in the 50s. That's the thing that might scare you off against Nam. But you're right, if he does clip him, we're talking points.
Yeah. Next up, we're talking about, and I need to think of a new intro that just next up, but we'll figure that later on.
On deck.
Yeah, on deck. The subsequent matchup. Round 2. Sorry, I'll come up with some more. We'll start changing it up next time. Maybe we'll even write them out. We'll play this little game. Mike Davis, minus 185 versus Mason Jones, plus 160. Real Mike, talk to me about Davis versus Jones.
Yeah, this is actually going to be a pretty decent fight to watch. Jones, he is going to be longer with a little bit more better reach, in my opinion. But Mason, he's no slouch. He's undefeated for a reason. His striking is really good. His all around game is really good. But the problem that I have is that it's besides the last guy he fought that was 12-1, every other guy after that was 6-2, 12-5, 12. Like, just not the best caliber of opponents. So it's a little tough for me to take the newcomer in that spot. So I'm going to go with Mike Davis on this one. I think he's a little bit longer, stronger, and going to be able to edge it out. But if this was maybe the other guy's second fight in, I might change my tune.
It's just this is the fight of the week that everyone is paying to see. This is the 2-weight Cage Warriors champ, the European finishing machine. We are not here to take part. We're here to take over Mason Jones. Let's go. It's just like, it's weird. Like, both of these guys are fighting in the same week on different cards. Like, you feel like there could be something with that. But starting off with Mason Jones, he's 10-0, 4 knockouts, 3 subs, and just watching his fights. Look, I'm all in. I'm watching Dragon Days on YouTube. He's got his own little channel thing going on. I'm into it. I'm in. Like, I was going to make a joke about this terrible show on AMC from years ago. I'm not going to do it. He's British. That's the joke. Anyway, stylistically, he's good everywhere. Solid boxing, good kicks, black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in Judo. I mean, he's kind of everything that you want to see in a fighter. The problem is he's going up against Mike Davis, who just good all around, solid, hits hard as hell. He's patient, picks the right strikes, does everything right that you want to see. 1-1 in the UFC so far. The one knock against Davis right now hasn't fought in 13 months. That's what worries me. But back to Mason Jones and worrying. My worry is that he tends to brawl. Like, you look at him fight, and he will take a shot. Like, we were talking about, I was joking about McGregor earlier. McGregor back in the day would like slip out of the way of the punch before punching you. Mason will just let you hit him, and that's not going to work against Davis. Like, he can, how can I say this? Jones can win this fight pretty much anywhere, but I just see at some point in this fight, Davis is going to start hurting him. It's his UFC debut. He's going to realize, like, oh shit, we're not in Kansas anymore. And at some point, Davis hurts him for real and puts him out. My pick on this is Davis. It's not the strongest pick I have. There's a lot of fights on this card that are like kind of just to me. I don't know. So, but my pick is Davis for this fight.
Let's quick shout out to, we have Randy the Man Horton actually here in the chat with us. Thanks for joining, man. We have Bulldog Mom in there as well in our chat. Please hop in the chat. We are having a good time in there. Lots of people commenting, up to 218 there live. See, it's the Santiago Ponzinibbio magic right there, man. You just utter his name and it just starts to happen. I don't care if it's not a thing. I'm turning it into a thing. I will say his name at least once from now on, as long as we break our records week after week. He'll get mentioned at least once per show. But in terms of the actual matchup that's actually going to happen, yes, the matchup happening next Wednesday when we have Mason Jones versus Mike Davis, the 2-weight Mason Jones. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I think Mike Gills, when you said he's willing to take one to get in, like, that is the biggest red flag on me for him here. Is Mike Davis has the power. Dude is a finisher. He's an absolute finisher. He's going to go for it. And yes, that's not the most technical of breakdowns, but he's going to put hands on him. He's going to look for opportunities. And I don't think Jones coming from Cage Warriors, obviously it's a great organization. They have a good talent pool there. So you're tested before you come here. But I still think that Davis is going to hit him with the type of power that he is not used to. He won't be able to just take one to get in the position, and I think he's gonna get put out at some point. I'm sorry, you just go through, like, we've shown some of them. Some of Davis's finishes are they're terrifying, and I think after Jones feels that first one, he's gonna start staggering back and might start second guessing his game plan. Well, next up we have one that I know I had issue trying to figure out, and it'll make sense when I describe it. So we have Jerome Rivera plus 120 against Francisco Figueiredo minus 140. Yes, you heard that, Figueiredo. This is Davison's brother, Davison Figueiredo, the flyweight champion. And because Davison Figueiredo is a flyweight champion and his brother has barely fought recently, it has been very, very hard to find video for me for Francisco Figueiredo. So I do not have much on this fight in general. That's a spoiler for in a few minutes. But Mikey Gills, please tell me if you have anything for Jerome Rivera versus Francisco Figueiredo.
Well, yeah, I had a couple of things. First off was the nickname. Are we going to call this guy Figueiredo Bro? Is he the bigger brother? Is he going to be Biggerado? Like, what are we going to go with here? These are the important questions that we need to deal with. These
are the hard-hitting things that we cover on this show that I don't think anyone else is doing. I mean, he is one weight class up.
Right. So bigger bro? Bigger bro.
He's 5'6", but I do think he's also older, I believe. I'd have to check that, but I'm pretty sure he's older and bigger.
I thought he was younger, no?
I don't know.
Oh, he's 30. He's 31.
I
thought Davidson was in his 20s, like upper 20s. I would need to double check. Obviously, I do not know all of the champions' birthdays off the top of my head, but apparently that's something I need to jump on. So maybe my next show.
Yeah, no. So like the other question I had going was like, Davison Figueiredo does the hair. So is Francisco, is he the Manny Petty brother? Like, these are other things that we got to go with. But like, I don't know. But just not joking around for 1 second, like with his career, it's kind of weird circumstances. Like, he's fairly inactive. Like, he had a draw in Jungle Fights 16 months ago, and since then he's been on the sidelines, and then he gets the call up for his UFC debut. You go through his record, his quality of competition. I mean, just 2 fights before that draw, he was going up against 6 and 12 guys. Like, I'm not sure that he is this UFC-ready guy. Like, even if he is training with his brother, I don't know. Like, my brother was really good at basketball, like really good growing up. I'm terrible. And when I got to high school after him, people were picking me for the team, and that was a mistake. So that could be something going on here. So I don't know. Is Jerome Rivera, got knocked out by Nam back in September? This is a quick turnaround for him. Do they see something that we don't know? Are they trying to set up Figueiredo with a beatable fighter who's proving himself that he might not be UFC caliber? I don't know. You were just talking about not being able to find out a whole lot on Figueiredo. That's kind of where I'm at too. So I'm just kind of wondering if the UFC knows something that we don't.
Yeah, he's Francisco's 31 years old, and Davison is 33, so he's the younger brother, like I thought. Francisco, if you look at his record, it's really bad. Like, it looks good, but it's really bad. Like, his caliber of opponents is quite awful. It doesn't give you anything to look at or to go off of. So, I mean, normally I'd have to say if he's the little bro, because I'm the little bro of my big bro, you got to be a tough motherfucker to be a little bro to hang with the big bro always. So, but with this one, I wanted to bet Francisco. I thought, that he's going to be bigger. He's going to be a little bit stronger. I thought he'd have a little bit more advantage here, but because it's so unsure, we don't know. We don't even know the Brazilian jiu-jitsu level of this dude. I don't know if he's been in Brazilian salon doing hair or nails or what he's been doing over there. So, I want to pick Francisco Fredo, and I'm going to just because I think that he should have the talent to beat this kid. I just don't think that Jerome Rivera is UFC caliber. Yeah, he has some decent jiu-jitsu at that, but I mean, if you go and look at the interview with even like James Lynch when he interviewed him, the kid's a kid. He's not meant for this level. He just got his first passport. He's got jitters leaving his wife and kid for the first time. He's got a lot on his mind, and I think that Francisco is going to be able to take advantage of that and get a win here.
Yeah, quick shout out to some new people hopping in the chat. Hello, Joanne Fam there at Go Rice Girl. Thank you for joining us here. Again, thank you for the awards again. Ryan Sugar Daddy Richardson, just Mr. Kick Your Bass, just straight streamlining this thing. As I said before, big spoiler, I do not have a lot on this in general. Not find a lot of Francisco Figueiredo, other than the fact that I know he lost to John Lineker a long time ago. That's what I can give to this conversation. So
it doesn't even say if he got knocked out. It doesn't say if he got submitted. It just like he lost to the motherfucker. Like somebody showed up. He showed up. He had a stare down and he lost. Like, I mean, what happened?
Let me tell you, he's probably at the nail salon right now, telling everybody like, I took him to the wire. I swear.
There's no proof otherwise, and there's no video saying otherwise. I mean, there might be. I couldn't find any personally, but as of right now, I got nothing. So in terms of just strictly based, 100% based on my light theory, I'm picking Rivera because this is Figueiredo light. As far as I know, I have no evidence to the contrary. If he proves me wrong, I'm happy for him to prove me wrong. All for another powerhouse Figueiredo that likes to knock fools out, but I'll just pick Rivera.
I'm going to keep trying to make fetch happen and say he's the ugly duckling.
So he's Figgy light for now.
Dude, the duckling thing is fantastic, but it very much specifically works for the two brothers.
I refuse to believe that. Fetch will happen.
Whereas light could be for just added to the last name of any of the siblings. It's more universal. But I'm very pro you saying fetch as often as possible.
Yes. All right. I'll work on it.
I'm very pro that. We are pro Mean Girls on this show, and I never thought I'd say that, but that is a hill I'm willing to die on. I'm going to be honest here. We're gonna go back to some actual fights because you're probably into it. But another fighter who we've broken down like 3 times in the last 2 weeks has another new opponent, Dolce Bula. Sorry, there's an A at the end there. Minus 145 against Marcus Perez plus 125. I know all of you are thinking, who is Marcus Perez? It's the guy that dresses like the Joker. That's him. So you're set now. So real Mike, Dolce versus Joker cosplay.
Yeah, on this one, I think this is a much better matchup for Dolce and a little bit easier. I think that Marcus Perez, he likes to come forward, and when he gets hit, he likes to come forward even more to give back. And I just don't think that this is going to be the guy that you want to do it to. Dolce is super strong, aggressive, to me more athletic. I mean, I don't know if it's just me not liking Marcus Perez and what he's about, but I think that Dolce is actually going to run here and it'd be quite spectacular.
Real quick, one thing for you guys. I was just looking at Tapology. Is this fight supposed to be at middleweight or 205? Because Tapology has it listed at 205, and I know
it's supposed to be middleweight because
Dolce was moving down. Yeah,
he was moving down, and actually, I'm pretty sure he made weight even though the fight got called off just to prove that he could. And obviously, Marcus is a long time middleweight, so unless that's changed,
middleweight.
Yeah, no, I just looked at Tapology. It said 205. All right, never mind. Anyway, start on Dolce Lungiambula. 10-2, 3 knockouts, 3 subs. lost his last fight back in November 2019. He's had 3 fights canceled in just over a month. You know he's itching to get back in there. We just talked about the weight issue, but powerful striker for this guy, like stylistically. Throws a lot of big shots. He's also a judo black belt. One thing that I really like about, and we were talking about it for the last breakdown, if this guy gets on top of you, man, he's one of those guys that just has power on the ground, and he's going to try to put you out as soon as you get down there. Going up against Perez, like you were talking about, a guy, busy, good striker, but he's one of those fighters that I like to talk about. He's more fun than he is good. He is a good fighter. He's a good technical striker. And if he can get, Dolce going late in this fight, I think he could actually pull this off late. For me, like, the problem that Perez is going to run into is the same thing that got him hurt in his last fight. He's just a little too aggressive. When you're going up against a guy like Dolce, who's going to have a reach bigger than Dricus Duplessis, the guy that knocked him out in his last fight, when you're getting wild like that and you're leaving your head in there and you're swinging those hooks, that long reach can come back with power and pop you. And I just, at some point in this fight, I just see him getting cracked, maybe finished on the ground. But if that doesn't happen, it's going to be close. But my pick is definitely Dolce in this fight. The power he has, the cage control, like, again, I could see the finish, but decision wouldn't surprise me either.
No, I definitely see both those sides right there. Obviously, the reach, the power, all that stuff is on Dolce's side, and I'm going to try something. Long Iambula. I'm going to start saying it that way now because it's easier. It's just 100% phonetic, just making it easier for my brain. Marcus Perez, yes, the ground game is great, and I mean, not great in terms of the elite, but what I could really see happening is Dolce landing hard, rocking Perez, and Perez going for a desperation takedown, actually being able to get Dolce down and struggle so much to get up that he gasses out. Because I do think the drop to 185 is going to affect his gas even more so than he's at right now. He does have power, he does have reach, but yeah, I've always been a little bit worried about his gas tank. And I mean, Perez looks like utterly exhausted and dripping sweat after like 2 minutes, but he still maintains that pace throughout. So I do think he could win a decision here. I could see I agree with Mike Gills. I could see the tired late finish. It's a possibility, but like in terms of the athlete, yeah, I'd be on Dolce big here, but I don't know. Perez could definitely win a really, really ugly decision. It's very, it might be an amazing 6 minutes of a fight, and then just I do think I'll be much more of a Perez fan if he could have the Joker get up for the fight,
dude,
because as the fight goes on and more of the makeup just starts running, like I would be very invested.
You know how I got these scars? Yeah, motherfucker, I gave them to you.
Each round he would change the story of how he got the scars too, just like in Dark Knight. Sorry about that. Next fight, just slowly trying to change it, like one word at a time each time. But we have Sue Maderji, who, again, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's how everyone else pronounces it, so we're going to stick with it, is a massive minus 370 favorite against Zarak Adashev, plus 310. Mikey Gills, everyone's new favorite, Sue.
Yeah. I was going to say Sue Madayerji, but I don't know. Sue is what we're going to call it. 13-4, 11 knockouts, 1 sub. 2-1. I was actually just watching Walk the Line before we started this. Not important. But 2-1 since entering the UFC. He's won his last 2 straight. Really solid stand-up fighter. Great kicks, great boxing, creative, mixes it up well. And say it with me on this one, 7-inch reach advantage in this fight. 7 inches, which is really going to help him out going up against Zaruk Adashev, or as I like to call him, Uzbanisteki Baker Mayfield. I swear to God, if you look at their photos next to each other, that is exactly what he looks like. Anyway,
I assume that's a sports ball player.
That is a sports ball player. You're right. He's a quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Just put out this crappy team whose colors I'm wearing. Anyway, 3-2, 2 knockouts, and he was brought in late notice for the UFC. He was knocked out by Tyson Nam in just about as much time as it took me to finish this sentence. But he's actually kind of skilled when you look at his old fight tape. Former pro kickboxer. He's got a lot of good kicks, all that stuff. But the fatal flaw that I saw, I watched like 4 or 5 of his fights this week. It's the same exact flaw that got him knocked out by Tyson Nam. It's just he leaves himself wide open in these exchanges, and that is just not something that you're going to want to do against Sue. Because like when you look at Sue, his striking is obviously his strength. He's got power. He's a knockout guy. His weaknesses are his wrestling. Like that's where you can take him in. All 4 of his losses in his career have been by submission, and I don't see Zaruk Adeshev having that over him going into this. And with that and the stand up and his defensive holes, I see Sue having his way with him on this one. He's got the length, a ton of knockout power, and I see him putting away. This is, if it's a reasonably priced DraftKings fight, I'm going to be on Sue all day.
Yeah, on this, I'm the same, dude. Sue is gonna absolutely devastate this kid. I mean, I don't know why they're even matching this guy up, but he leaves himself so vulnerable for to be, hit in his face, and it's just not the guy that you want to do to versus Sue. He does hold the power. He does have some good combos. So I just don't know what Adeshev is gonna do, but he's gonna get beat up. This is definitely one of those parlay pieces that Sue should be in. He's definitely one of them that I believe 100% cashes. If he was negative 180, I'd max bet this, but it's nothing close to that. It's it's where it should be, or it could be even higher. So I think Sue Maduji, or however you say it, is going to dominate here and absolutely devastate the kid.
I agree. I think Boy Named Sue has quite the reach here. That's my biggest thing. I mean, obviously, this is not Gustafsson versus Jones, where the entire promo is about the inches, but Sumaderji, he's got more pop in his punches. He's a finisher. I do think he could get it to the ground and do some pretty devastating ground and pound there. Agree with Real Mike that that says fiance. I'm just letting everyone know that my Gills lifted up a glass said fiance. I need to say that because when I first saw that, I could have sworn it said Beyonce.
It says Beyonce, but
I thought it said Beyonce, and then I was going to start like busting out Destiny Child's lyrics because I got a lot of them up here. So I was just going to throw that out there, but then I decided maybe I shouldn't, and then it ended up being fiance. So like, I'm happy because I would like that would have been just egg all over my face.
Yeah, she's actually in my phone as fiance Knowles. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. We are pro wordplay.
Yeah,
here that's a thing. But sorry, going back to the actual fight. Yes, Boy Named Sue. I think this is. Sorry, I was in the middle of saying I'm with Real Mike. If this was minus 180, this would be a big bet. If it was even minus 200, it would probably be a decent sized bet. Once you start getting up to the minus 370 and it being fighting, and like a max bet on this would get you like 1 point some odd units, and there's always the chance he slips on a banana peel. It's MMA. This is the stuff that happens. Trying to think of another thing to say. Oh, Ricky, you're so fine. Simone is in the next fight. Still trying to find a better transition here. We'll get there. Maybe
Simon says we're going to Ricky's fight.
I like that one. Yeah, some Simon Phoenix with all the Demolition talk recently. Okay.
Dude, Demolition Man, a great movie.
Yeah, shout out to Ash on Twitter with his poll.
It's true. I want to know about the 3 shells, so I know he listens to this after the fact. So
that will be $500, John Spartan.
Ash MMA, thank you for that poll because I've started to remember about the shells. And if you know what we're talking about in Demolition Man, there's a situation where every time you go to the bathroom, apparently you need to use 3 shells, and that's somehow how you take care of your business. No one knows what it means. They never explain it. No. And Sylvester Stallone just does what he does.
I was praying that Sandra Bullock's beautiful butt cheeks were going to show me how those seashells worked. But of course, just like Speed, it's all just just a hater,
I don't think anybody else was thinking that, but I appreciate going outside the box.
I thought I was talking to myself.
I mean, you do see Sylvester Stallone's butt in that movie. It's worth noting.
You've seen it several times. He's very willing to show.
Whoa, bro. I want to see Sandra Bullock's butt cheeks.
Look, you're telling me what you want. I'm telling you what you got.
I looked away. I didn't even see that part. I don't know what you saw, dude.
I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to start saying the different movies where you see different situations of Wesley Snipes' anatomy, because there's a lot of movies like that. But we'll just go to the actual fight that we were trying to transition into with Ricky Simon or Simone, however we're going to do this, who was supposed to fight Brian Boom Boom Kelleher on the previous fight. Then it got pushed, and then he has this newcomer. So Ricky Simone, got to pick it at some point. Minus 325 versus Gaetano Perello, plus 265. Real Mike, tell me how fine Ricky is.
You're so fun. You're so fun. You blow my mind. Hey, Ricky. Yeah. Hey, Ricky. No, this one, this the negative 325 price tag, versus Boom Boom, this would have been a hell of a scrap and a lot of fun to see. But this Gaetano Perillo, I honestly, I don't know much about this guy. He's coming here short notice versus a guy that's got really good wrestling and some good takedowns with that wrestling and some good ground game. So, I mean, I hope that Perillo's got some really good striking, and I hope that he can keep distance. But I mean, on your UFC debut, I really doubt that that's going to happen. It seems like a gift for Ricky Simon, whatever you want to say. So I think that he's going to roll here. But this is not a something I would bet on. I wouldn't parlay this because these are the things that you're not sure of. And when I want to bet on things that I'm sure of, and this is definitely not one. But I think that Simon should roll here. He's the veteran. He's got more experience. But if this guy Gaetano Perillo's got some striking and some takedown defense, Ricky Simon could possibly be fucked.
Yeah, no, I'm with you guys. I think this is a bit of a gift to Simone, which is good because he's still trying to erase the image of Uriah Faber in 2019 knocking him out, which I would say don't harp on it too much because Stephan Bonner lost to like the corpse of Mark Coleman in like 2009 or whenever, and he made it into the Hall of Fame. There's hope for anybody. But we all know who Ricky Simone is. Great wrestler, going to try to take you down, beat you up from top position. That's his game plan pretty much every time he goes out. This guy Perillo, though, 15-5-1, 11 knockouts, 3 subs, making his UFC debut. Nickname is El Tigre, which is almost La Tigre, which is a reference to one of the best movies ever made. If you know it, you know it. Have fun. But going through this guy's record, if you look at his overall strength of schedule, it's like, yeah, he's fought some pro fighters. That's about as nice as you can say it. Not the best strength of schedule that you could ever face. Stylistically, from all the fights that I could see, he's a pretty straightforward striker. Likes to get in very close Muay Thai style. Likes to use his knees, elbows, all that stuff, which, again, styles make fights. If you're going up against Ricky Simone, a guy that's just going to try to take you down as soon as you get in on him, I just don't see that ending very well for him. Talking about the quality of competition that Perillo's faced, Simone has faced completely better fighters just through his career. And right now, easy pick, not going to get crazy, Simone.
Quick pause from everything. This is not a typical pause. I want to give a big shout out to everyone here hopping on in the chat on Haps. Yes, we're on Haps. Said at the beginning, please go into the chat. Is absolutely hopping. We got some new people in there. Hello, Vanita Breland. How you doing? Hello. I'm going to go with Bernie Doley. I'm going to go with that. And thank you both for the awards. Very much appreciate that. See, and once again, Santiago Ponzinibbio. See, 355. That's how that works. You just say it like a magic word. But in terms of Ricky Simon, the new ultimate mullet that is in the UFC since Miguel Torres is gone. And I wouldn't call Chiesa's a mullet. I'm going to give it to Ricky Simon. I'll give Ricky Simon the mullet. I'm going to go back to a breakdown that I did of said Ricky Simon versus Uriah Faber fight, that he is the younger, better version of Uriah Faber, which I believe then, and I do still believe now, outside of the chin. Apparently his chin is not as granite as we all hoped because the dude has the skill, and it's not a mental toughness thing. The dude will come forward. I really, really like his wrestling, and I do think he's going to be able to get this to the ground. Yes, if he can't do it, man, Perillo's going to make him pay for it. Dude has some pop. Dude has some power. Dude, like his knees are phenomenal. He's good in the clinch. But if Simon can get it down, it's a bad night for Perillo. So obviously, minus 325, real steep. And for a newcomer, got to stay away. But especially with the matchup change, because I was thinking Kelleher in the last matchup, mainly because I like Simon a lot. In that matchup, I think he's better, but I think Kelleher was going to be able to stuff just enough and make Simon pay for it coming in. And I don't know how Perillo's training has been. This is a very last-minute jump in, so I don't know if he had anything else going on. Probably not, because pandemic, not a lot of guys are throwing on fights at the moment. So pick Simon, but I would not parlay this. Like, where I'm very pro boy named Sue in a parlay. If you have that proclivity, do parlays. I am not a Simon Phoenix fan in this context. In the Wesley Snipes context, 100% big Wesley Snipes fan.
He was so good in Blade, all the Blades.
I heard he was actually crazy. Like he was like Blade for real on set.
Oh, that makes sense. Except for the third one, there's no way he could do that because he was on set with Ryan Reynolds, and there's no way he lets that fly.
I was listening to Patton Oswalt talk about it. He said that like he was legit like everything that vampires, except for like the sunlight thing, because that wasn't a blade thing. But yeah, just method acted the shit out of that, which I kind of respect.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, I was just reminiscing. I was weirdly obsessed with Blade Trinity. I watched it way too many times because for all you those who don't know this, I don't know, for those of you who don't know this, maybe you're newer fans, I have a very extreme obsession with Ryan Reynolds, and he's in that movie, and he's jacked in that movie. So I'm all for that. I've been a fan since the Sabrina the Teenage Witch movie version of Ryan Reynolds, and then Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place, Ryan Reynolds. So I've been on the train for a long time.
I didn't
buy the cow. Sorry. What?
Dude,
No.
how sexy was Jessica Biel in Blade Trinity?
That's true. I'll give you that.
Dude, her Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Dude, that's the one. That's what I was thinking of.
She's the wife beater and the cowboy hat on, and I'm just like,
See, but no. You can't mention a movie with Jonathan Tucker and think I'm thinking of anybody else but Jonathan Tucker. And Jonathan Tucker is in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about boobs.
Are you talking about my best friend who likes all my tweets on Twitter, Jonathan Tucker?
Yeah, dude, I will go full Stan account for Jonathan Tucker. If he's on here,
Seventh Heaven got me through a lot when I was young, bro. Okay.
That's oddly disturbing. So we're gonna move on.
Especially considering all the news that came out about the father.
Okay, that guy's a pedophile, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah, but that was after he.
I mean, I liked Jessica Biel when she was a small girl. I mean, I liked Jessica Biel. I mean, holy shit.
Oh, this is gone off the rails.
I needed a minute to collect myself.
There's somebody watching for the first time, like, what the hell?
No, there's someone watching for the first time being like, "This is the kind of stuff I'm into." Not the same stuff as the guy from 7-Eleven, but
This is your first experience with Real Mike, me, myself, and I. I mean, I'm sorry right now. You know, I say things that are off the wall. I say things to get reaction. I say things to get everyone fired up. Sometimes I say shit that I don't even mean. I say it because it's funny. I say it because it's fun. And if you don't like it, you can go and run.
Ooh, well, there you go. Sorry, a quick pause. Prime putting in the chat about Bernie Dolly there. Probably butchering your name. Apologize, but the whole screen name and the name after it's really messed with me. But you're a big fan of the Aussie guys. Awesome. Well, we will be going huge on that Dan Hooker fight coming up. That's going to be a major discussion for 257. So that'll be next week for sure. So come back for next week if it's your first time listening / watching. Come back next week. We will be going all in.
We will
for some New Zealand Aussie fighters there. So finally to this next fight that we've been working on for the last 6 minutes. And they always want to throw me for a loop with names because forever I was thinking it was Leron or something like that, but it's Lerone. I've heard varying degrees of how to actually pronounce that name, so we're going to stick with Murphy. We're going to stick with Murphy. Murphy minus 275 against Douglas De Silva de Andrade. I should put Douglas Andrade. It's just easier that way for plus 235, and that's probably how he shows up on most things. Mikey Gills, talk to me about Murphy versus Andrade.
Yeah, let's start off with Lerone Murphy, 9-0-1 with 6 knockouts, 1-0-1 since coming to the UFC. Right away, the two things that you want to talk about are three things, really. It's 2 inches of height, 5.5 inches of reach advantage in this fight, and he's 6 years younger. All three of those things I see coming into play. A really powerful striker, mixes in his kicks with his punches. You never really know what he's going to throw, and he's got power coming from everywhere. Also, another thing that I saw with this guy that I really like, he is not scared at all to follow you down to the ground if he hurts you. And once he gets you down there, this dude's throwing hard. It reminded me a lot with his reach going into this fight, a lot of like Holland Jacare feels where he can hurt you from a completely different point than most other fighters can. So that's just something to keep in mind. Going up against Douglas Andrade, keep it simple, 26-3, 19 knockouts, 1 sub. And we were talking about the age earlier. It's getting towards the end of the road for Andrade. He's 35 years old. In this division, that's a bit ancient. We're starting to get up there. As for his style, he's a pressured forward fighter. Just got that blitz attack style. Going up against Lerone Murphy, I just don't see that being something you ever want to do. But, I mean, this is a good fighter. He's not a scrub at all. He's only ever lost to Peter Yan, Rob Font, Zabira Tuganov. No shame in those losses, but it does give you a little bit of a feeling at his age that we might have seen where his ceiling is already. For me, Lerone Murphy, obvious pick. Stylistically, Andrade's going to have some trouble with the style when he comes in, and I just don't see him doing that against Murphy without getting touched up, and if he gets touched up, he's going to fall, and if he falls, he's getting pounded out. Murphy's my pick. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll roll right into that. Lerone Murphy, going to be younger, stronger, longer, more athletic. Andrade reminds me of 35 going on 60 type of Trinaldo type body. We don't really know how old he is. He's like the kid in the Little League World Series who's like 17 years old, but he's supposed to be 12. I mean,
Danny Amante.
That's a Benchwarmers reference.
Well, no, the guy's name, the actual one is Danny Amante.
Yeah, so the point of this is that Douglas Andrade, his good days are long gone. He is not on the peak. He is on the decline. There is nothing really there that I like. He's a night. Most of his wins are by knockout, so that's usually what he goes off of. A lot of these Brazilian guys, you think they'd have a great submission game. He is not one of those guys. Lerone Murphy, so he has nothing to fall back on. In this striking incidents, Lerone Murphy is going to be longer, more athletic, is going to keep him at range. I think he picks him at part. I think he makes him look absolutely stupid on the feet, and his only hope is to get him on the ground. And like I said, I think he's only got one submission in 20 plus fights, and I just think this ain't the guy. So Lerone Murphy is going to absolutely dominate the old man here.
Pretty much echo most of these sentiments. I mean, Douglas Andrade, he beat Henneber out in his last time out, but
the ghost.
It was an awful fight. It was two guys well past their prime, two Brazilian guys well past their prime, who may or may not have had some type of supplementation help earlier in their career. That's all hearsay. Just throwing, but not throwing with reckless abandon. And I was not a fan of the fight. I don't think he looked good. He got the win. Kudos. I think he's not even plateaued. He's on that, he went up to the top of the plateau and he is just fashioned himself to his slide on his way down, and it's going to go down fast. I think this is what's going to spur that on. I think Murphy is going to put him out in a devastating way where he's just not going to look right ever again. He's not going to look the same after this one. I do like Murphy big. I think he gets the finish here. I actually want to quick try if I can give you guys those odds. Obviously, we are not big prop people, and I'm not planning on playing a prop here, but every once in a while, if you want a little more, at least better odds, the under 2.5 is minus 125, because I do think Murphy's going to get the finish here. Doesn't go to decision, minus 165. Now it's getting a little bit steeper, but if you do Murphy inside the distance, minus 110, obviously that is way better than the minus 275 that he's currently sitting at. It's main event time. And by its main event time, I mean it is my main event time. This doesn't make sense to anyone that doesn't listen to this show or has talked on this show before or listened to us in any capacity. But we're having a Roxanne Modafferi fight, baby. We're having a Roxanne Modafferi fight. And I know many of you don't understand what that is if this is your first time listening. But we go way back with Roxanne Modafferi. And she is right now a plus 275. Underdog. Just updated those odds there on odds on the notes there because it changed, versus Vivian Arroyo minus 335. Real Mike, talk to me about the Happy Samurai or Warrior, whatever her name is at this point, versus Arroyo.
Oh, man. Well, if you guys have listened to the MMA for Money show, you've been blessed to bet Roxanne Modafferi a couple of times when Bob's called them plus 200 or more each and every time. Sometimes I come in here and I'm like, holy shit, he's betting Roxanne. But I'm going to back him every fucking time, because every single time my boy calls out a Roxy fight, she backs him and she comes through hardcore. This one is going to be a really good fight. It's going to be a little bit tougher in the sense of that Vivian's striking is really good. I like it a lot, but her gas tank isn't that great. And so if Roxy can get her down on the ground and implement her game plan, she's very, very long, Roxy, as you can see. If you ever done jujitsu and you start rolling or wrestling with guys that are longer and lankier than you, they throw up triangles easier. They throw up arm bars easier. They take your back and lock in body triangles easier. They literally do a lot of things easier and better. With this one, I see exactly why my boy Bob loves his girl Roxy, and I'm going to back Roxy in this fight to win a 3-round decision, possible submission.
In the past on the show, I've had some less than favorable things to say about Roxanne Modafferi. It is true that her striking does, in fact, resemble Jim Carrey in Me, Myself, and Irene, or Jeff Daniels in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, it's bad.
But literally, my only note that I wrote down for I texted you guys during the week is, ugh. I'm not even gonna try to break. I agree with Bob. She's probably gonna pull off a decision somehow and just keep coming back to do that forever. The only thing that I can say is that I know I can't remember the other female fighter who had like the win-loss streak that went on forever.
Random Marcos.
Random Marcos. There you go. Modaffari's kind of on that right now too, so maybe that'll happen. I don't know, but
yeah, but she lost a grappling bout against Danielle Kelly after her win against Andrea Lee, so the streak continues.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right. Well, then here you go. Roxanne Modaffari, probably by decision. Let's go. That's all I got.
Sorry, I just want to we're not just blowing smoke. If you have followed us here, I want to give you some odds here that we've gotten on Roxanne Modaffari. Currently in Roxanne Modaffari picks and bets, we are 3-1. Okay, we bet her against Shevchenko light, plus 265. We bet her against Jennifer Maia at minus 110, but she wasn't quite the underdog there. That's right there. That's where we lost her. She lost that fight. But then we had her against Macy Barber at plus 330. Yeah, and we had her against Andrea Lee at plus 205. So those might not be exact. That's just me going by the odds that are on Best Fight Odds from the openers. And obviously the closing stuff ended on those. Some were higher, some were maybe a little bit lower, but somewhere around there. We did not get the high price on Modaffari against Barber. At one point, I think it hit like plus 700 and it sat at like plus 5 something. But we got it closer in the 330 range. But so you're telling me that Roxanne Modaffari, probably 3 things she's best at is closing distance, locking up her opponent, and out-grappling them. You're telling me she's going to fight someone who is smaller than her and does not have as good of a ground game. Plus 275. I'm sorry, she's going to get across. She has gotten so much, Prime himself in there in the chats talking about Syndicate MMA. She's taken a major turn at Syndicate MMA. And I'm not telling you she's going to be a champion. She is not going to be a champion. But this is the type of fight where she excels. She's fighting a non-elite fighter, and she's the underdog. When those two things happen, especially if she has a grappling edge. The grappling edge is big. I missed that versus the Jennifer Maia one. She doesn't have the grappling edge there, so that's why she lost. And she has to, so it's qualifier. She has to have the grappling edge, and she has to be an underdog. And that system has done amazing. And this is exactly that. She is the bigger, stronger fighter here, which obviously aids in the ground game. She will be able to get it against the cage. She is great at trips and throws, and she will get it down there, and she will win a decision. Unless there is just 3 Chris Lee judges, which obviously I can't do anything about. But it's like we said before, outside of top 10, even like top 6, 7 of WMMA, you go with the dog and it goes your way. And I'm doing the big here. So Roxanne, the Happy Warrior, Modaffari, plus 275. That's 1 unit to win you guys nearly 2.75 units. I am straight hyped.
Let's go.
I'm sorry. I'm big. We've rolled a lot of times with Roxanne Modaffari, and she's came up big, man. She is probably single-handedly we've won the most on her of almost anybody else. Probably there's like 1 or 2 exceptions.
Yeah,
but
Viviane lost to Jessica Ai, bro. It's enough said.
Yeah,
man.
Roxy. That was going to be a linchpin of my argument, but I gotta stop making that as part of my argument because there's one fighter that I talk disparaging more than anyone else is probably Jessica Ai. So that's rough. Did we just freeze? Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
We got a collective freeze on my screen. I got a little bit.
I don't know if it's just me. Then Jessica Ai just makes me disgusted. But
yeah, no, I've said some disparaging thing about Jessica Ai.
I'm evil that I don't like Ai.
I liked her in Bellator. When she came to UFC, I didn't like her so much. Sorry. Moving on to another fight before I just continually talk about Roxanne Modaffari ad nauseum, because I will. I never thought I would say that, but in the last couple of years, it's happened. It's really happened. We have Ike Villanueva, minus 140 versus Vinicius Moreira, which he wins in the name category, plus 120. Mike Gills, Villanueva versus Moreira.
Yeah, let's start off with Ike Villanueva, 16-11, 13 knockouts. 0-2 so far in the UFC, which is unfortunate because one of those losses is a TKO loss due to a cut that he suffered against Jordan Wright. If you listen to the show, you know I've talked about Jordan Wright being a bit of a fraud. That's why I say it's unfortunate, because I feel like Villanueva could probably beat him in a rematch. Stylistically, he's definitely a fast starter with some power. You look up and down his record. He's the type of guy who doesn't waste any time. I don't count his last loss as legit. I'm invoking the Fedor rule. And so I'll say that, yeah. I'll say he's won 4 of his last 5. All of them were in the first round. Going up against Vinicius Moreira. 9-4, 1 knockout, 8 subs. And, like, this poor guy, right? Like, he's on this run. He's 9-1 outside of the UFC. He comes in like, hey, we're going to throw you this guy called Alonzo Menafield. Have fun, buddy. And just... boom, gets his chin detonated. It's a good lesson for any up-and-coming prospect. Don't look too good outside of the UFC, because they might do you dirty on that one. It's kind of like how Jones on this card is going up against Davis. Like, if you call down the thunder, somebody might give it to you. It's like when Vince McMahon was just axing all the WCW guys as they came into WWF. Sorry, I'm getting off track. I apologize. Anyway, prediction. I'm going to go with the first round heavy hand guy. If you like, again, you go through his record, it's first round TKO and first round TKO over and over again. Vinicius has been stopped 2 of 3 times in the UFC by strikes already in the first round. The third one was submitted, but again, 3 first round losses. So I have one guy who finishes everybody in the first round, one guy who loses to everybody in the first round. That's my pick. Ike, let's go.
Yeah, both these fighters suck. Dude, like straight out. I don't give a fuck. You can give me shit all day on Twitter, on Haps, on everywhere. Vinicius Moreira fucking sucks. He doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. Ike Villanueva fucking sucks. He doesn't deserve to be in the UFC. Both these guys. Ike Villanueva's last 2 fights got his ass kicked by Jordan Wright. Before that, got his ass kicked by Chase Sherman. Chase fucking Sherman. You know who Chase Sherman is? No one fucking cares who Chase fucking Sherman is, because he's a piece of shit. He sucks dick at MMA. Okay, so this fucking guy Ike Villanueva's got beat by Jordan fucking Wright and Chase piece of shit Sherman. It's fucking crazy. So then you go to the next guy. You're like, holy shit. So Ike sucks balls. Well, we'll for sure bet on the other guy. So let's go to Vinicius or Moreira. I don't even care to fucking say his name because he sucks so much dick. He's seriously just terrible, bro. Last 3 fights, got his ass kicked by Paul Craig, first round. Got his ass kicked by Eric Andrews, not an MMA fighter, first fucking round. And then first round, got his ass kicked by a real MMA fighter, Alonzo Menafield. Fucking both these guys fucking suck. If you bet these fights, I fucking don't want to ever talk to you again. Do not listen to the show. I know Bob hates when I say that. You guys are absolutely stupid. Both these guys suck. They fucking should be fired. They shouldn't even be in the LFA, PFA, DFA, any of these things that exist. They suck. Fuck this fight.
Honesty.
That was a mic rant. For those of you who are watching for the first time.
Oh, dude, don't get me started.
That's why we call him Real Mike, because he keeps it, quote, real. And for those of you listening, not watching, I did the parentheses for emphasis.
It's because Stone Cold says so.
What?
He's drinking Stone Cold beer, for those of you who are, again, listening, not watching. But yes, we got a good amount of you watching, because we said Santiago Ponzinibbio enough times. We're up to 437 people watching currently.
I can't believe that fight is seriously this high up on the card, bro. It's like gonna make me throw up.
Honestly, that's the thing that bothers me the most. Thanks, Prime, for the mic drop award there for Real Mike. That's what's actually the most confusing to me. Like, I would understand. Like, I guess originally this may have been meant for the opener because it's more than likely going to end in a finish. But I get a feeling it's either going to end in a finish or it's just going to be a really, really bad fight if they both survive and are terrified to lose their jobs. So they're playing it crazy safe. So I actually don't I don't really want to dignify this fight with a pick, but I suppose I should. So I'll go Villanueva because he looked less bad.
Okay.
My 100% breakdown on that fight. Agreed. Both these guys are either going to basically what's going to happen is whoever loses is getting cut. Whoever wins is going to be fed to an up and coming 205er or just some chaff for like a 205er that needs a stay busy fight, or a heavyweight that needs an additional like stay busy fight. Like, let's just say Arlovsky falls out of the fight and they need a replacement for Tom Aspinall. Tell one of these guys, just don't cut weight. We'll give you another fight. And then Tom Aspinall is going to send them to a dimension reserved for the really, really bad people.
Yeah. Or they need to keep Chris Dawkins busy while he's waiting for his title shot.
Sorry, his doc is trained as like one of my secondary favorite things. That it's going to get real big.
I'm getting t-shirts printed.
Yeah, give that with Prime.
Yeah, don't bet
It
on
looks
the fight.
less bad. Yeah, never bet on a fight when you hear things like that. Yeah, anytime you have to have a qualifier that someone is not as bad as the other guy because they're both real bad. Just walk away. There's no value on this fight. There isn't. DraftKings is different because you have to find where things fit and you need a lineup. For bets, you don't have to bet on every fight.
Yep.
You don't even have to bet on a fight card if you don't like the spots.
I'm not even gonna watch this fight. I'm gonna turn the fight off and watch fucking tennis because this shit sucks.
Want to know what I'm gonna do while this
like
fight
tennis.
goes on? I'm gonna watch the highlight reel of the next fighter over and over and over again, just because he had one major highlight in his career. So we'll get to that. So over the course of this fight, I'm just gonna keep watching Warlley Alves highlights over and over again because we're about to play it for you. Warlley Alves is a plus 170 underdog against Munir Lazzez minus 200. It was a little bit closer earlier, but the major highlight for Warlley Alves is that Covington sub. And he can keep that in his back pocket forever because dude's going to be champ one day, and he's just going to be like, well, yeah, I subbed him in the first round. Like, it was cake. Like I don't know why you guys keep saying it's so hard.
Yeah, that's
like, I mean, like I basically destroyed him. So
it's like Dennis Hallman.
In hindsight, I did lose a lot of money on that fight because I thought Covington was going to wreck the fool. But either way, so real Mike, Warlley Alves, the one-time Covington subber versus Munir Lazzez.
Yeah, I mean everybody's on Lazzez. It just seems like the overwhelming love is just poured on for him. If everyone and their mother wasn't on him, I might feel a little bit better about it because he is a great MMA mixed martial artist. He's got a good game, but he hasn't really proven a lot to me, and that shows on his record. Warlley Alves, he's been in here with, like you said, Colby Covington. Man, he beat him. Colby's no fucking joke to me. I know a lot of people hate on him because of the things he says. A lot of times he says those things just to get hype and people and attention. So, but Colby is an animal. He has no one to play with on the ground. Even on the feet, he's even proved himself. For Warlley Alves to be able to beat him and finish him is crazy, So I really think that this is a spot where they're just literally giving no respect to Alves. I don't know if Alves has an injury coming in here. I don't know if he's mentally deteriorated. I don't know what it is why Lazzez has such a negative 200 favorite or more. But I really think that Alves is the veteran here. He should be able to win this fight. If this was Manor's second or third fight, maybe I'd change my tune, but I think Alves is the OG and he has enough experience to roll here.
Yeah, no, just going off of that is just talking about like how can I say this? Like, not just Covington. I mean, he's been there against Usman, Kraus, Barberena, like Joe Bond. Like, this guy has been in there with everybody. So maybe like the disrespect, as we're calling it, is that we've seen kind of where he's at in his career. Like, yeah, he has that one sub, but he's had all those other ones that are all those other losses against those guys.
I get so tired. Like, fighting's hard, and after like a round or two, it's hard. So you gotta get sleepy.
Yeah, no,
you just gotta slow down.
No, I got you. But going back to the respect part of that, going against Munir, like, he had that decision against Razak Al-Hassan. This is before the Chaos Williams fight. Like, that meant a lot. And it's not just that. Like, you watch his fights, he looks impressive. Like, one thing that I try to say with certain strikers when you watch them go in and out is kind of like the quarterback thing. Like, imagine like Tom Brady's not the most mobile guy. He's like the worst example, but use him for now. Like, when he steps up in the pocket, when that defender's coming at him, it's like he doesn't have to do much. It's a very subtle in and out motion. But if you just take that one little step, all of a sudden you're free. It's kind of like, that's kind of how this guy strikes. He takes that one little very subtle move and boom, he's back in and out there, and he's hitting you with really clean shots, getting out before you can touch him. Munir's striking it's actually really impressive. So going up against Alves like that, that's kind of me where all that hype's coming from. It's like an experience versus potential fight because he's only got 11 fights so far in his career. Look, it would be wrong to sit here and say, oh, I totally believe, Lace. I'm so bad with pronouncing names, but it would be wrong to sit here and be like, oh yeah, that guy is going to murder this guy. Yeah. But you can definitely see his path to victory here. So slight lean for me on Munir, just based on the Hassan fight and just like the eye test, if you will, of this guy striking. I do understand the lean from Munir, so that's kind of how I am, just a little bit, but I don't want real Mike to yell at me, so I'm going to slide off camera real quick. Nah, it's up to you guys. What do you want? That was my segue, but I was hoping Bob would start talking. Now it's awkward.
Sorry, I thought you were trying to cue it to real Mike to talk back to you, so I didn't want to step on your conversation. Okay, well,
you don't want me to get fired up.
Before I give my quick 2 breakdowns, I have 2 things I need to say that are they're minor segues. One was in reference to the last fight. I just want to give major credit to Mr. Prime himself and in the chat. This is a very, very good point, and it verbalizes it better than how I said it, obviously. Sportsbooks and odds makers have to line every fight. You don't have to bet every fight. That's an edge you have right there alone, and that's 100% true. That's going on within the chat. So you can create things in the chat. All 449 of you watching live can hop in the chat and do that. Santiago Ponzinibbio.
Real quick. I forgot to mention one last thing on the Munir thing. 4-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height. Had to throw that in there. I forgot about it.
That's fine. One more thing I need to mention, just because you were talking about Tom Brady. I actually know who that is, but I know who that is because he was in Ted 2 and because he was in an episode of Entourage. So I got you there.
Hey, well, quick, while we're on the subject of MMA for Money Prime, he also killed it this weekend. The NFL playoff wild card Sunday, the Browns money line plus 205 times 2. So on that one, he won us 404.1 units. And then on the first half under 23.5, he won that one too. So he won us just on that game alone, 5.1 units. And then on the one before that, he bet the Ravens game, which Mikey will love that one, to win by 4. So the Ravens cleared that. He won that. So get your package at MMAforMoney.com. Prime is the man. He does everything professionally. He has incredible spreadsheets and just things, his own legit way of coordinating his bets, and everything that he does is for his dad who's got stage 4 cancer and his mom. So please go over there, get a package, and he'll win you your money. I promise that, especially when NASCAR and hopefully the Olympics come.
Yes, basically, if you take everything that I don't know about those sports, which that's a lot, he knows that.
Yeah,
so.
It's crazy. Women's FIFA soccer was so crazy. We won 30 plus units in that run in 1 month, bro. It was fucking crazy.
Sorry, I'm enjoying this because it's keeping me from having to talk about Warley Alves versus Munir Lazzez, because I think Lazzez is just straight going to beat him up, especially because, as I said, Alves' gas tank has never been amazing. It's gotten worse. He has a chance in the early goings in the first round when they're both dry to maybe get a sub. It's obviously what happened against Covington. And obviously this is years ago now, that Covington fight. But Lazzez is on the upswing. Alves is definitely on the downswing, and Lazzez, just his ceiling is much higher than Alves really ever was. I mean, I was really high on Alves for the longest time. I just don't think it's even close. And yeah, so I'm sorry. This is very odd.
Sorry about that. Too many beers. 50 units on women's soccer for FIFA. 50 units in 1 month we cleared. It was insane.
These are the things that happen. It's and we're not kidding. There's verifiable facts. So we get texts with all the numbers, all the everything like that going into just on a daily basis for all the different sports. In the main event, this is actually the main event. This is not going to be me being like, "Hey, main event, Roxanne Modaffari." No, this is actually the main event. Obviously, a different main event than we were originally supposed to have. We were supposed to have Leon Edwards.
It's kind of the main event.
Well, it's probably the highest ranking matchup on the entire fight card. So in terms of that main event, that's what you got. It's Michael Chiesa plus 115 versus Neil Magny minus 135. Mikey Gills, tell me about the cheesy one versus, I don't know. I got nothing for Neil Magny.
Yeah. Right away, I don't want to call this a disrespect pick because it's not, but I've never believed in Michael Chiesa. I've heard people going "Oh, this guy, he's really good, blah, blah, blah." I've never really seen it.
He sucks.
His striking is not very good, and that might even be kind. He's supposedly a great grappler. He's been submitted multiple times in his career. It was Masvidal, Lee, Pettis. I know he argues against the Lee one, but I mean, for Christ's sake, he wasn't even defending the choke. Get out of here with your "I was holding on to it" thing. But not just that, I mean, his cardio is questionable. It's a 5-round fight. This guy has had questionable cardio in 3-round fights. I don't magically think it's going to get better. And you could say that, he was cutting down to 155. Now he's not. He's going to be less depleted. I have to see that first. And then on the other side, though, you got Neil Magny. I've seen this guy go at least 3 rounds strong as hell, like against Robbie Lawler. He's very competent on the ground, on the feet, taller, longer, better striker. He's just better everywhere, I think. I don't see this. I don't even know what the odds are for this fight. Maybe one of you guys can tell me real quick, but I feel like Neil Magny should be a pretty big favorite in this. And
Moderate favorite.
Moderate? Really?
-135. Nothing crazy.
Really? Okay. Well, if that translates to DraftKings, that's going to be something like an 83, 8,400. I would jump on that all day on DraftKings. I'm hoping it's lower than that, but I think this is Magny's fight easy. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is Magny's fight easy, bro. I bet Neil Magny versus Kelvin Gastelum in Mexico City, a 5-round fight. One of the only guys who bet Neil Magny to beat Kelvin Gastelum in that match. Chiesa's wrestling is not going to be even close to as good as Kelvin Gastelum. So what's he going to do to Neil then? Neil's striking's better. It's only getting better over time. He's longer. He's got a crazy reach on him. He's got really explosive knees. He's kind of like a gazelle when he springs and loads and gets going. I also, Neil Magny's ground game, ever since he lost to Damian Maia, he went specifically to Damian Maia and went to go train with him and learn some things from him because he was just so surprised on how easily he got manhandled. That's the type of things that real champions do. They're not scared to go with someone they lost to and go and learn the things that they were scared to do or scared to implement in their game plan. So Neil Magny, man, I just don't see how in a 5-round fight Michael Chiesa is going to do absolutely anything to Neil Magny. 5 rounds, Neil Magny will be there for all 5 rounds. I guarantee it. There's no way in hell that Michael Chiesa is putting out Neil Magny in a submission. So I just where's he got an edge, you know? So Neil Magny is going to run here. He's going to win this main event and show everyone in the world that Michael Chiesa is just a little bit it's not up the upper echelon.
One thing you both mentioned, and that's probably the biggest factor in this fight, is 5 rounds. You have Neil Magny for 5 rounds. He has consistent, high-level output, was willing to strike at distance, is pretty good on the ground for 5 straight rounds. Obviously, that's not Chiesa. Chiesa does not have the gas to that kind of output for 5 rounds. Neil Magny has cardio for days. It's utterly ridiculous. Dude never slows down whatsoever. Yeah. But the weirdest thing about like as you said, Chiesa's ground game isn't great, except when it is. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I've never seen somebody go from like getting in a ridiculous sub to landing a ridiculous sub on someone that he should never be subbing out. Like he has the weirdest, like his offensive everything on the ground is awesome. His defensive everything on the ground is terrible. It doesn't make sense to me. I would feel like if you were that good at the offense, like I'm flat out here. First of all, this is a main event, so we're not betting it. Second of all, I don't bet Michael Chiesa fights because dude has cost me so much money over time of all of these matchups that I'm just like, he's been losing me money since Tough Live. When he beat Iaquinta, he cost me money. When he beat, like, I could probably go down a list of like, so this was one of the times that at one point I was just like, nope, never again. But like, there's been plenty of times where he has cost me money. He cost me money against Iaquinta. He cost me money against Francisco Trinaldo. He cost me money against Jim Miller and Benel Dariush. He cost me money against. So needless to say, I don't bet anything. Yeah, exactly. Ryan Richardson, Mr. Kick Your Bass. This is the main event.
Well, the main event doesn't always go on last.
Yeah,
you can make
it's disgusting.
Well, honestly, this is the sandwiched event in 2 great events. Like, honestly, the one this Saturday that we already covered. So by all means, if you're listening to this now and you're like, hey, why are they talking about the next Wednesday card and not this coming Saturday? We already covered it on episode 71. This is episode 72, but by all means go back, unless you want the DraftKings stuff. That was on the earlier part of this episode. That stuff's a little staggered because DraftKings lineups aren't out for a lot of them, and we're just trying to space it out so we pretty much have like 1 show per fight card. That way we can go as in-depth as possible. Yeah, I know. I said wow too when this was the main event.
Well, I was saying that Connor is such a big star. Some fighters have an undercard. He has under events. So
yeah,
we're
dedicating all next week to the Connor show, baby. We want to see Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier.
Well, that's the hard thing. Because anytime they've ever done these 3 event cards, because usually what they would do before it was Fight Island, packing in fight cards and trying to get a cushion in events because they couldn't fight for so long. Before it was like they would have International Fight Week, which was the big Saturday pay-per-view. Then they, on Friday or Sunday, depending, they would have like the tough finale of the end of that whatever show. And they may or may not have another fight card from them, or maybe Invicta would have one that they would stream on Fight Pass, something like that. But they would do 3 to 4 events in a week, which is utterly ridiculous. And this is the same way. But there's always going to be at least one event that is obviously lackluster. And this one even has somewhat of a lackluster main event. No offense to both guys. They're main card fighters. They're not, whether they have headlined a fight card or not, they are not headliners. So sorry to attack them in that way. But it's what it is. But hey, I'm picking Magny too with no bet whatsoever because main events.
Yeah. Also, I was looking through this the Chiesa record real quick. Since the 2 losses to Lee and Pettis, 2 of the 3 fighters he faced were Carlos Condit and Diego Sanchez. So and
he couldn't finish Diego Sanchez.
Yeah.
Let's not bring up Diego Sanchez after I wrecked him last week.
Fair enough.
That's fair. You know what? I'll give it to you. That's fair. So, as a quick review, the bets that we have for UFC Fight Island 8, being very specific with the titles, because obviously they're different and you're getting different videos out there, different shows. So our 2 bets are, we have 1 unit on Leonardo at the plus 150, so it's 1 unit to win you 1.5, and we have 1 unit on Modifare at plus 275, 1 unit to win you 2.75. Now, quickly before I bid you all adieu, Real Mike, you got anything to say other than you got to pee to everybody listening?
I feel like Forrest Gump. I'm like, I drank too many Dr. Peppers and I gotta go pay. No, I just appreciate you guys each and every week listening, subscribing, liking, and interacting with each and every one of us. The only thing I can say is that in these troubled times, please try to invest in stocks and cryptocurrency, stuff like that, to help your family in the future. Me, Prime are huge cryptocurrency guys and stocks guys. So if you ever need any help, please message us and let us know or ask us for help.
We were talking about the thing, the poll on Twitter from Ash earlier. It was between Pulp Fiction and Demolition Man. So I thought he might be watching, but anyway, I just wanted to show him my wallet. I got the old school Samuel L. Jackson bad motherfucker wallet. Anyway,
hell yeah,
that's all I gotta say.
For me, just we'll do our best to try to make all of this stuff make sense. Obviously, our schedule is a little bit haphazard, but we covered DraftKings for the upcoming Saturday fight card today, but the actual fight cards on the last one. So if you ever need more specifics at the beginning of the show, I gave our schedule, and I will give more of a breakdown now quickly because we will be back next week for UFC 257 McGregor vs. Poirier 2, but we will also quick review any updates to the fight card because obviously the live show will be the day before the fight card, and obviously the DraftKings for said fight card that Wednesday. So Mike Gill's doing double duty next week. He's going to be doing DraftKings for 2 fight cards. So I don't know. We got to pay him overtime or something because Pulse Servant's not doing it. So we got to cover that.
Yeah, we're behind right now. It's just not good.
Understandable. Post-holiday, completely get it. But don't forget to subscribe to us on your platform of choice. But quick pause. Thank you to everyone that came inside the chat here in Haps. At currently 484 live viewers. Everyone who has participated, everyone who has given us awards. We're at 41 awards for this broadcast. And you can subscribe to us here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Podcast, the RSS feed. Remember to subscribe to us on YouTube. I know we pound that home, but we really need you to subscribe, comment, share on all that stuff. It helps spread the word, helps you not miss a show or miss any of our content. So like, comment, and share, spread that word. And with that, let's roll.